Hi, everyone. My name is Georgette. I work for the law office of Vincent Davis. And I have a special guest with us today. Her name is Brandy White. Hi, Brandy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, honey. So I wanted Brandy to join me today. She wants to share her story, but she also wants the show to be where her kids will see one day. So Brandy already shared her story with me, and she's innocent, as most CPS victims are. I'm not going to sit here and say all of them are innocent. Obviously not. Some of them know who they are, but I'm talking about the ones, most of them, but very few they can't handle taking care of their own children, right? So I can understand these kids being removed from them, but most of the parents that I come across, their cases are innocent and they had no right to remove the children. Okay. Um, Take a listen, guys. Learn, educate yourselves, know how to handle CPS, and please, I'm begging you, do not speak to them that like they're your friends. They're not your friends. Even if one comes across as nice, that's only fake nice. Fake nice, right, Brandy? I mean,
Right.
um, they're not. They're not your friend. Period. Okay. So, Brandy, please share your story with us, and thank you for being on the show today.
I appreciate being on the show. Thank you for allowing me to do this. I have four littles. I have three little girls and one little boy. My oldest is 6 now. I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and my boy is 8 months old.
Wow.
My three girls, well, 2 years ago, they opened a DHS case on my two older girls. Um, and at the time, my oldest was 3, my youngest wasn't even a year yet.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my husband had pretty much been pushed out of a house that we were renting a room from. Um, and so we ended up homeless. These people that we lived with were straight evil. Like they came after our girls to get at us for whatever reason. Um, and so they forced us out of the home to protect our girls. We placed them with my husband's dad and his brother
Mm-hmm.
because sleeping in a truck is no place for kids. We were working on getting everything situated to where we could move to Georgia, where his mother lives. And we started getting phone calls from DHS blowing us up, threatening us, take a drug test, or we're going to take your kids, all this other stuff. So I refused to talk to them as long as I possibly could until they threw out, we're just going to go ahead and remove your kids, even though they were not in mine and my husband's care. There were allegations from these people that we lived with that we were on drugs, that we beat our girls, that we were constantly fighting. And, you know, like they made it look so and sound so bad, like we were raging alcoholics, did 20 fentanyl pills a day, was on cocaine, methamphetamines, like you name it. We were on all of it. And we were actually sober. Um, and so because they threatened that, they said that if I did 2 weeks of UAs and they all came up clean, I could have my kids. Now, see, at this point, they were already with his dad and his brother. And so for that 2 weeks, I went and stayed with a friend and went in every day, did a mouth swab and a urine test. All of it came out clean for 2 weeks, every day. They just wanted a urine test. I did mouth swabs just to say screw you and prove it. And in that time, all it did was allow them more time to open a case on allegations and hearsay, no proof of anything. I proved, and so did my husband. We both proved that we were sober, that we were not on drugs, and there was no police report saying that we were fighting. all this stuff. So they removed our kids anyway, and it's been a little over 2 years since that happened. Now,
Mm-hmm.
me and him have been fighting for our kids back. We've been fighting homelessness. Like, once you're homeless, it is so hard to get back up on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a stay-at-home mom before all this happened. I have a hard time finding a job. And my husband, he is a go-getter. And he was working, had his own business, doing construction, remodeling homes, you name it. And we both fell into this depression because not only were we trying to get on our feet and move out of Colorado, because this is actually the second case that DHS has opened on us with my two girls. The first one was with just my oldest, and I got 100% custody back within a year of her. And then when all this stuff went down at the house that we were living in, I think we were out of that case for at least 3 months, and these people went solely based off of things that they knew from the very first case, which was also opened on allegations, no proof, no nothing. And so we've been fighting it for 2 years, a little over 2 years. My third daughter, she was born, and she, with all this stuff, I will admit that I messed up during her pregnancy. And when I gave birth to her, she was a month early. I threw myself into early labor, and I opened that case. So she's the only one that's legit. But they added her to my two oldest girls, and they won't help us get housing when they're supposed to. They set us up for failure. They knew that this was damaging to my relationship, my mental health, my husband's mental health, and they just kept pushing. And they kept saying all these lies, all of this stuff. They did so many things that were not right. They would say they put in a referral for substance use classes. They didn't. My husband, for a good example, he finally got a call back from one of their referrals, 9 months after the fact that they said that they put one in. And then a couple of months after that, after he went and did his eval, or no, he got the call to set up the appointment, and then they called him back several months later to start an eval and get classes. So they were prolonging things. And that's just with him. With me, they would put in referrals, and I would get calls on some of them, but not all of them. Part of my treatment plan was parenting. I requested parenting way before they decided that was part of my treatment plan.
Mm-hmm.
I requested a lot of different types of classes to help regulate my emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and how to deal with this, not having my kids. But regardless, they set us up for failure. My caseworker was just recently caught lying, doing fraudulent things throughout every case of his, including ours. And we got to the point finally where they started doing motions for termination.
But that's after you've done all the requirements for you to get your children back.
Well,
By the way,
yes.
homeless is not a reason to remove children.
No.
She lost her job. That's why CPS took her kids. That's not a reason to remove children from parents.
No.
Because we have a lot of homelessness in Los Angeles, even California, period. But they're not helping these homeless people get back on their feet again. And we're talking about innocent families who are homeless, who lost their career. I mean, lost everything they had because they can't make it right now.
Yeah.
Right. So again, that's not a reason to remove children, but go on. Brandy, I just
Um,
wanted to make sure I addressed this exactly the
yeah,
way.
yeah, it's a really long, kind of confusing story, but the bottom line is they set me and my husband up for failure, like to the point where my husband actually paid for domestic violence classes out of his own pocket because they wouldn't do what they were supposed to do. They denied the completion on that when it's literally approved through probation, through the
Right.
courts, through everywhere. It's federally approved.
Yeah, it's funded.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so they denied him that. Throughout this, it's caused him so much mental health that he has attempted suicide twice and almost succeeded the last time. He ended up in the hospital for 5 days after
Mm.
that. And that was brought up in our courts. And they pretty much they just refused to help us in the right way. We didn't get any kind of right help.
Right.
I've been trying. I've been doing my classes. I seeked out my own DV therapy classes that they required because my cases were open on substance use allegations and domestic violence. And that seems to be a go-to with all of them.
Mm.
Um, every person I've talked to where their kid has been removed, it's all substance use and DV allegations. No proof of anything. Um, there was no police reports, none of that. So anyway, I took their treatment plan. I succeeded in my first DHS case, got my oldest back out of that case for less than 3 months, and they started it at it again and contacting us, harassing us, threatening us, and they knew that I would cave, and I did. And they just opened a new case, and that case has been open for 2 years. They added my youngest daughter to it. So during this 2 years, I've struggled with homelessness. I finally got into a very safe place for me. My husband, he is still kind of struggling, but getting there. He's not completely homeless. He lives, with in his own RV. He's got a roof. It's rough living. I call it glorified camping. But it's not anywhere that a child can't be. Like, the girls were safe. They were loved. They didn't have to worry about being hungry, cold, like no matter what, because even if we were like homeless, not no vehicle, we had a place that they could go where they had those things while we worked on getting them a home again. And so through all this, I have been to different types of facilities. They took away my visits, so I failed on that. I haven't successfully completed any of my classes due to the bouncing around, people backstabbing, shoving me wherever I need to go because I'm not from Colorado. My husband is. All of my family's back in Utah. So I have two people here, my husband and my ex's mother. No blood relation to my kids at all. She's always been there for my kids and me to help. She doesn't particularly like my husband. I think it's because it's not her son, but she did a lot of the damage as far as anything she didn't like that I said or did, she would kick me out. And my kids lived there throughout DHS. That she was kin-like for my girls. And I finally get to a spot where I am able to work on me in the best way possible to get my kids, because the last 2 years have been hell. Mentally draining, physically draining, you name it. And it did cause me and my husband a lot of fighting and a lot of resentment. And a lot of substance use throughout the, case, not having our kids, the stress, the just everything weighing down on us. And I finally got to a point where I said enough is enough. And I left and did my inpatient. I'm in a sober house. I'm finally getting my head on straight, even though I've been working on it for 2 years. And they still terminated my rights to my girls. And throughout this 2 years, okay, the caseworker that I had with this case was just recently terminated from the department because my husband launched an investigation with ombudsman's. And they investigated him, and he was caught in all these lies and was terminated, is facing felony criminal charges, did jail time. And they still, hold on, I can't hear you all of a sudden.
Oh, it's my fault. My fault. I had you on mute. I'm so sorry. But what did he lie about?
The referrals that he was putting in, the visits, the home visits, the staffings that he's supposed to do, the FEMs that he was supposed to set up. A lot. He was lying on a lot. And
why did he do that?
My caseworker?
Oh, I thought you said your husband. I'm confused.
No. This is my caseworker. This is my caseworker
okay.
that was in charge of my DHS case. That he was the one fired from the department because my husband launched an investigation because me and him were saying all these things that he was doing and nobody was listening. And even throughout my TPR hearings, we had 3. It was only supposed to be scheduled for 1. My very first one had a continuance due to failure to due process. And then the second time came around, and we had another continuance because the caseworker that I had, his supervisor took over my case and continued the lies. And literally my lawyer and my husband's lawyer just ate her alive when she was testifying because she was going based off of my caseworker's notes and saying that she followed my case closely. And even though he lied on almost every single one of them, mine somehow he did not lie on, when we had proof. We had a continuance for failure to due process. The fact that he wouldn't contact our providers to see if we were doing any better, see if there was something else that they could do like they're supposed to do. A lot of my providers, like I have DV therapy, I have life skills, parenting. I go through trauma therapy. I have IOPs, substance use therapy, classes and individual. I do a bunch of extra stuff, like I read self-help books, parenting books. Like I'm doing everything I can to get my kids back while this guy is literally trying to make us fail, and succeeded with his supervisor. Like she was caught by my lawyer and my husband's lying on stand, and they still went through with the termination.
I have to add something, Brandy. There's a video that I shared years ago with the viewers, a video of a CPS attorney lying in court. I mean, telling the judges, explaining to the judges why that it's okay for social workers to lie to steal children from parents, right? And by basically using deception, right, to deceive parents. So CPS, for those of you that don't know what CPS is about, if I may, Brandy, take over for a few minutes. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
CPS, they send, first of all, they make money. They make incentives from taking children from families. Senator Nancy Schaefer said it before she was murdered. Um, she exposed the Clintons. She exposed the state and the county for stealing children for profit. And actually, she exposed doctors as well, too, because doctors get incentives on that as well. When you are CPS's puppet, you get incentives. Okay. Now, With that being said, so what they do, the supervisor, right, is the one that running the show. So I mean, CPS world. So if you say you're going to call the supervisor and complain about a social worker, it's going to be under the bus. It's not really going to do. I mean, it's going to be under the rug. I apologize. It's not really going to help you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Oftentimes people tell me, Miss G, I told the first social worker she was so nice, she was so pleasant, I love her, she really cares about my daughter, blah blah blah. That's not true.
Mm-mm.
She doesn't care about your daughter. This is just a deceptive way to manipulate you so you can open up. So you can say, hey, Miss Social Worker, guess what? 12, 15 years ago, I stole a pen from Staples. You know, that social worker is not going to write that it was just a pin, right? She's going to write, mother has felony.
Yeah.
The judges are really not going to check that because by law, and Attorney Davis said that on his shows, by law, the CPS judges have to take the recommendation of the social workers unless proved beyond reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So
Yep.
basically, if you don't have the right attorney, your court appointed attorney is not going to fight for your rights. So if you
Mm-mm.
don't have the right attorney and say, hey, this is not the law, here's what the law is, and work on getting your children back, then you don't have the right attorney.
No.
CPS attorneys get paid by the state.
Yep.
There is no loyalty to the parent because if they don't follow the guidelines of the state, they're in deep trouble with the
Mm-hmm.
state. And this is the God honest truth. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not, whatever. Like Attorney Davis texted me today and said that he was in court and the social workers caught him inside the elevator and said that they don't like me. Why? Because I speak the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. You don't have to like me as long as the truth is out there.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you guys are stealing children from innocent families. The Title 4E funding was meant for that funding to help families find homes if they're homeless, be able to get them approved for Section 8, for example, or low income housing, be able to help them get a job so they
Yep.
can get on their feet again.
Yep.
If they are, for example, if they got hooked on drugs, oftentimes I've seen victims of drug users who were not even, they didn't want drugs, but they were introduced to drugs forcefully. So they get hooked on it. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? I hope everyone is listening to this. They get hooked on it, and then before you know it, they're hooked on something that wasn't their fault to begin with, but they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay? And then that system, the Title 4E funding, was meant to help parents, get them help for reunification. But because when they push for adoption, after you do all your classes, they always say, well, the judge will always say this, 10 months down the road, 12 months down the road, 2 years down the road. Well, I'm reluctant to remove the children because they got so used to the foster mom or the foster dad or both. I don't want to destroy their lives. That's what the judge would say. But you already destroyed their lives when you removed them to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Because imminent danger means this. Imminent danger means not that the mother and dad are smoking marijuana. By the way, we had a case like that, and David said, well, it's legal in California. So what's the problem? Right? If a parent can smoke it on their porch in their house, right? Or in their backyard, it's legal. But according to the social worker, it's illegal. Anyways, this is not a reason to remove children. Imminent danger means if the child is hungry and he or she is not being fed, they're being burned on their bodies, they're being molested, they're being locked in their room or locked in their bed or whatever, and men are sexually molesting them, different men, are being trafficked, forcefully being trafficked. That's imminent danger. But these kids, according to the social workers, are not adoptable. So what do? They focus on other children that can be adopted. So what they do, they take a healthy, which is a true story. We have a client like that. They took her healthy son, 6-year-old son, her only son, 6-year-old, and said that he has special needs. Because they wrote that in the report, but the child didn't have special needs. So the reason they did that, because with special need children, they get more incentives. So if you ask yourself, my son or my daughter is not special need, why are they doing this? That's why they're doing this. Okay, so they can make perjury. They can also sign your name on a safety plan. Yep. And they can easily take that safety plan to the judge and say, well, she signed, blah, 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 but you didn't sign. But it's your word against theirs. And guess who's going to win? Them. Yeah. So you have to keep in mind, homelessness is not a reason to remove your child. It's the other reasons that I mentioned earlier, imminent danger. Okay? But if you go to court on your first hearing and say you're in the process of hiring Attorney Davis, for example, right? On that first hearing, you must tell them to get a continuance because you're hiring an attorney. They're gonna get mad, or the social workers are gonna try to talk you out of it, whatever the case may be. But just understand the first hearing is so important to get your kids back, because they're holding your kids hostage. Mm-hmm. There is no imminent danger. I have seen Davis get a mother's approved for Section 8 because she was homeless. She lost her job. Her husband left her, and she was alone with 3 kids. And she was evicted, lost her job, and Attorney Davis has to remind them, hey, there's a reason for that Title 4E funding. That's what my tax dollars are paying for, and everyone else's tax money is going to.
Yeah, but that's not what they're using it for at
all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the first thing they do, if there is no domestic violence, they're going to create domestic violence. Mm-hmm. They're going to make you and your husband fight. I'm not joking. This is real.
Oh, I know. I've been going through it.
Yeah, I'm going to separate you. They're going to separate you from your mom and dad, the grandparents. I have a case where the grandparents don't want to have anything to do with their son and their grandkids. Why? Because CPS is involved. They said, we don't want the headache. And they let their grandkids go. I have a mother that called me and said, I made a mistake, Miss G, 3 years ago. My son lost his rights to my grandkids, and I want them back. It took her 3 years. 3 years to convince herself she's ready to see her grandkids. But she said no before. For placement. We could have gotten her placement. But she said no. It's too late. Once you lose your parental rights, all you need is one parent losing their parental rights, the family lose their parental rights to that child or children. Yeah. Bottom line. And then every child you have going forward, you're going to lose from the hospital. Why? Because you have a previous CPS case.
Okay, so let me ask you a question on that. Mm-hmm. So they terminated my rights to my 3 girls. My son is a separate case. They took him solely based off of my girls' TPR. Now, if they were taking him based off of them, why wouldn't they just do a no reasonable treatment plan like they threatened me if I went through with my trial, because they had no right to touch him? They threatened me with a no reasonable treatment plan and terminated. But instead, they're letting me continue to do what I'm doing and have that possibility of getting him back. Now, since the TPR is already said and done. I don't know if the long order has been signed. We're in appeal. Like, this literally just went through 3 weeks ago. And I'm fighting, and I've been fighting. And now they're making us do the last visits with our girls. Mine was my first one yesterday with my oldest. And that was the hardest fucking thing I've ever had to do, is tell my 6-year-old that she's not going to see me anymore. And now I have to do it with my two younger girls, but they're all in the same foster home. So I'm hoping that the only reason I stopped going to trial with my son is to keep that window of opportunity open with my girls. Like, these people want to adopt all four of my kids. And she's a CPS worker in Denver, different county. Yeah. You would think that would be a conflict of interest, but I found out, a
They
couple
can't
of
do
days
that.
ago.
They can't do that. They can't do that. I don't think they can do that.
I didn't think so either, but apparently they can. What me and my husband say is it's the government. What the government wants, the government's going to get. And from the very beginning of my case, reading the discovery, reading the ROI or ROAs or whatever, all the discovery on the stuff that they give us, the stuff that they have. I got everything, and they even, I don't know if all, but most of the missing documents in the file that they give the parents. We have combed through a lot of things, and they never should have taken my son. They never should have terminated. We launched an investigation, and so I'm still trying to turn
Well,
this
wait.
termination away.
You said you have a. They said not for you to do the trial.
Not to do the trial because I would lose because of the judge that we were in front of.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a jury trial. Okay, my son, his father delivered him in the middle of nowhere where he's living in his RV. It's all dirt road. I didn't have time to get to the hospital. Like, he was quick. He came quick. And I still to this day don't know how DHS found out about him, because from the day that I found out I was pregnant, and at the time I was in rehab the first time that they made me go. And they started threatening as soon as I told them I was pregnant that they were going to remove him regardless.
Yeah, they do this with everybody.
Yeah.
Once you had a CPS case open, that's it. Every child going forward, they will remove from you. It doesn't. I know somebody personally. I think it was all over the news. I'm not sure, but it was all over social media at one point. She had 12 children, and she went to every state. I kid you not, her and her husband, every state. And they tried to have a child there. And CPS removed all of them. And then she killed herself. She hung herself because of the pain. And the only reason they removed the first child, and that's the truth, is that her mother, the mother-in-law, didn't like her. And she reported her to CPS, and she told her son in writing, in writing, leave her or I'm going to report you to CPS because I don't like her. That's in writing.
Wow.
Okay, she showed it in writing to her attorney and to the social workers, blah, blah, blah. The judge at the time said, in this courtroom, we'll do things my way. And that's when she called me. And I remember I did a show about her, and I cried my behind off on that show because I will never forget her. Me and her used to talk almost every other day. And I think we need more people to stand up. You guys, we need more people to stand up because they are stealing children. California
Absolutely.
is the #1 state of child trafficking. It's the heart of child trafficking. I'm not joking you.
Really?
I'm not joking you. You can't make that shit up.
No,
But
you
again,
can't.
the left media don't want you guys to know that. But it's the God honest truth. I've done my research very diligently, and I understand what you guys think. It might be just a false news. It's not true. It's a
No.
real talk,
It
and
makes
that's
so
why.
much
Yeah.
sense. Like, working for CPS, that's the perfect opportunity to go after the poverty and take their kids because they cannot
Mhm.
afford to fight for them. And then what happens? They get put in foster care and they just disappear through
But
the
there's more. Brandy, I'm going to say it because I was proven. Some, I can't say most, some of the foster homes are part of the trafficking. And they become foster parents because they were informed that's the only way to get children. It's a lot involved. I can't say too much, but just keep in mind you need to fight, not fight physically, but you have to be smart.
hmm
You can't just talk to the social worker any other way. You can't just think the social workers are your friends. You can't do that.
no,
Family members, I'm going to repeat myself: mom, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, please do not go against your kids. Do not go against your grandkids. That's when they need you the most. But if you're going to neglect your grandkids because you believe the social worker's threats, or you believe the social worker false hope that you're going to have placement of those grandkids, then you're a fool. And I'm going to say you're a fool, fool, fool. Why? Because you are handing your kids, your grandkids, to Satan himself.
yep. And that's because she's a CPS worker.
Yep.
I honestly, like, at one point, I gained a relationship with the foster parents. The girls and Charlie, like, they put on a really good show. They're safe, they're well taken care of, they're spoiled. Like, they're having the life that I imagined I'd give them. So I couldn't ask for a better foster home for my kids, right? They're happy, they seem happy. But then all of a sudden, she decided she wants no more contact. And the only way I'm going to get to her only offer when this TPR started was 2 emails a year with possible photos. I just had to say goodbye to my fucking 6-year-old yesterday while I still continue to fight and get her back. My girls are beautiful. My
I know.
son is beautiful. And the way things have happened, me and my husband have a gut feeling that there's something going on, because 2 emails a year with possible photos until they turn 18, if they decide to come find us, is not okay. And what happens after we're out of the picture? Where do my kids go? My husband says that um, he's seen somewhere in the discovery that they were planning on separating my oldest because she's old enough to remember. And it's just so wrong on so many levels. And
Separating children harms them more.
yeah, and so
Separating siblings
yeah,
harms them more.
absolutely. And see that where I'm stuck on what to do, because I'm never gonna stop, ever, till the day I die. If they're adults, I'm not gonna stop. I will fight and fight until I can't fight anymore. And my son was the beginning of this fight, this possibility of still knowing where they are, knowing what is happening, even though I can't see them. He's a possibility. Now, what's going to happen if I do end up getting him back by jumping through their hoops and doing better, and to the point where they're willing to give him back? That takes him away from his sisters. That builds resentment against me from his sisters, because they're going to think, well, why did you want our brother, but you didn't want us? You see what I'm saying? So what do I do? If I leave him there and the case closes, they can just go wherever they want. They'll disappear. If I take my son back, since they have that connection, they're going to want to keep in touch with him. But then they're going to have those feelings against me. So I don't want my son back unless I can have all of them, because that's not fair to my girls. That's just,
But honestly,
I don't know what to
listen,
do.
get your son back, dude. I mean, and then fight for your girls.
Yeah, and see if I get him back, then there's still that opportunity. It's very small that the foster parents will allow the girls to keep in touch, and I can stay in touch that way if I get custody back of him. But I don't want them thinking that I didn't want them, that I didn't fight for them, because I have been fighting for the
Well, let me
last
explain
2
that
years.
part. Let me explain that part. CPS can return one child and take the rest of the kids. It depends on the child's age. If the child is a teenager, for example, sometimes they don't want them. They just want the youngest one so they can adopt them. So the
Yeah,
youngest one, they want to brainwash them, to forget their mom and dad,
that's
and
exactly what they're doing.
get them distracted, buying them stuff, and then the parents think the kids are happy there, but not necessarily. This is just from the beginning to get them to like them,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yep.
oftentimes the kids are happy with the new stuff, but that doesn't mean they forgot mom and dad. Um, Even a newborn know who his mother is. A
Yeah.
newborn knows who the mother is. That's why a lot of newborns removed from the mom into a home. They're crying excessively, crying every minute. Why? Because they want that mother. They want that mother. They know who the mother's heartbeat. They know who she is.
Yeah.
So again, them giving you one child, that doesn't mean you're at risk of child abuse, because if they want to send you a minor, but they want to keep the kids, the babies, right? How are you abusive or neglectful?
Right. And see, that's happened in this case with me and my husband too. Like, they tried to open an investigation with my husband's 13-year-old, and they didn't push like they did when it was just my two youngest ones. They let that case closed super fast. There was no proof of anything. There was no talking to them, and they just closed the case. Now, with my girls and my son, it was constant threat, 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 unless we did this, this, and this,
Mm-hmm.
and kept it going until there was one of us that just caved. And it's just not fair. Like, we even brought that up in court. Like, if you have such a concern, and at the time my stepson was living with his dad,
Mm-hmm.
and when they tried to open the case. So if substance use in DV was such a concern, why didn't they continue the investigation until they got one, you know?
Right. But you give them clean urine tests. You give them clean tests. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, a urine test is a screening. It's not really a drug test.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you guys are aware of that. That's why they will say drug test. I mean, they positive, positive, positive. That's BS.
Yeah.
That is BS. She was already clean. They're accusing her of drugs. They're accusing her just like they accuse a lot of parents out there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean she's really doing drugs, because it still came out clean.
Yeah. You know what? I even did a hair follicle at one point.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't prove anything.
I know.
And my son, he still to this day doesn't have a birth certificate. He's 8 months old. They took him at 2 weeks. They cornered me by police officer after his first doctor's appointment. And the police officers said that they were pulling me over for an expired temp tag. And as they were talking to me, was getting phone calls in about me. Okay. And then they sat there and made me wait until they got a verbal order signed by a judge to take my son, because I had just gotten into it with my caseworker right before I was pulled over. I got the 911 transcript. They started calling the cops and whatever 20 minutes before they even met with me to see the baby. And then I went and did my shopping, whatever, and walked in the store with my kid. My caseworker pretended he was going to go do emails or whatever. And I thought immediately that was off because he doesn't do things like that. And I turned around and I asked him, I was like, now you're not going to have like cops and whoever else waiting for me when I come out of the store, right? You see that my son is healthy. I have the doctor's notes. There is no concern. He didn't even come out with jaundice. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not like that. And then I go shopping. I come out and here comes my caseworker. Like when I went in, he was parked next to me. When I came out, his car was gone. He made it look like he left. And then as I'm putting my son into my vehicle, he's walking up with some other lady on the phone saying that they have a verbal order that my son was in state's custody. And I pretty much...
It's not a court order, though.
No. He said he had a verbal court order that my son was in state's custody and he needed to take him. And I told him, I was like, fuck you. Give me a physical piece of paper with a judge's signature, not a magistrate, and a warrant, and come find me at my fucking doorstep, and then we'll talk. And I said, fuck you and your verbal order. He's like, Brandy, if you leave with your son, you're going to be charged with kidnapping. And so I was like, you know what? Okay, fuck you. And I took off. I left. And within seconds, I was pulled over, getting onto the interstate to go home. And they said that I blocked traffic. This was around, by time they took my son, it was close to rush hour. I haven't even gotten all the way up on the ramp on the highway. Mm-hmm. And I was pulled over as far as I could possibly go. I don't know where this cop came from, but all of a sudden he's there. And then saying that he pulled me over for an expired temp tag and was getting phone calls in as he was talking to me. And they literally fucking lied. They couldn't show me a piece of paper saying that they had a verbal order. The cops, so 2 more showed up after that first one. And since my caseworker said that I would be charged with kidnapping if I took my son, I thought, okay, well, are they going to arrest me for kidnapping? What is happening here? They held me for over an hour. This was around 12:30 in the afternoon. And by the time I got a physical piece of paper was 2 hours later. It was at 2:52 when they handed me that piece of paper, and I was less than 2 minutes away when they pulled me over from where I was meeting my caseworker, and they were right there. They had to get an order signed by a judge to remove my son. My lawyer for that case is phenomenal. I was one of his first cases, and he followed my girl's case closely and learned from that. But he paid out of his own pocket because the department wouldn't pay for it. The body cams of all 3 police officers the day my son was taken, and the 911 transcript. He paid over $300 out of pocket for these things. And everything that they said that I did, the videos and the calls say otherwise. I was a danger to my son. I was known to be violent. I was on drugs. I put my son in a dangerous situation or whatever. Like all of these things. When none of this was true, they said that I blocked traffic. No, the police officers blocked traffic. The cams literally showed them talking about their game plan to take my son. No investigation, no coming out to see where I was living, no calling dad, no drug tests, no anything. They just cornered me and kidnapped my son by a police officer. And they have had him for 8 months now. He's 8 months old, and he was 2 weeks not quite 2 weeks old when they removed him from me. So there's a lawsuit in itself. That's why I was taking his case to trial. I had all of this evidence, like one of the police officers that says she used to work in crimes against children for 20 plus years. She told me what to do, what I needed to bring within that first 24 or 48 hours or whatever that it was set for the court hearing, the shelter hearing, what I needed. I had all that ready to go. And I was told by my lawyer then that I would be able to present that evidence. And she talked too long, and all of a sudden I couldn't present my proof. I couldn't have anything that I had shown in court. My caseworker testified and lied, used things that happened throughout my girl's case 2 years ago for my son's case. The girl that took him sounded like she was dumber than a box of rocks. She had taken, I don't know, I think she said my son was like her fourth kid that she has removed from a family.
Mm-hmm.
And my lawyer kept asking her, did you call dad? Did you ask him to take a drug test? No, she would say. And I got that all on video too. I was sitting there with my phone on the table recording this entire freaking court hearing. And my caseworker was saying that my husband hit me in the face with a hammer. That didn't happen. They said that they tried to communicate and tried to see the baby, tried to come out and see where we were living. No, they didn't. We may have been living rough, like we were living in an RV, but we had running water. We had food. We had heat. We had all of our basic needs met. And because it was the middle of nowhere in the desert, it was not okay. It was a danger to my son. It was a danger to whatever. Like,
I know, babe.
it's so frustrating. Like, and even in the video, Misty, the video showed my caseworker with a fucking smirk on his face.
Oh yeah. They're sociopath. They're the kind of people that will hand children to the abusers.
Yeah.
And they know they're abusers. They will hand them the kids, and yet the abusers are doing the same thing they're charging the family with, right? Allegedly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, we have a foster home who they do drugs. And it's okay for them to do drugs, but it's not okay for the mom and dad to smoke marijuana in the backyard.
Yeah, exactly. I have something like that happening in my case.
Yeah.
Mimi.
See what I mean? Yep.
The lady that my kids call Mimi, my girls call her Mimi. She is my ex's mother. There's no blood relation to my kids with her. She has been there since my oldest was 2. She was there.
Why did she keep the kids?
Because CPS was causing a lot of problems with me and their dad, and she was a problem. Like, she's a narcissist from hell and was siding with CPS, and she wants the best for the kids, right? But yet she was playing their game, making me literally go insane, making sure I didn't have a stable place to stay. Like, she would let me live with her for, I think the longest for a while now, it's been like maybe a week. I would be lucky if I lasted a week. And that's like keeping my mouth shut to her. And at this time, she had my kids. And get this one. She's an alcoholic. She drinks and gets trashed every night. Takes pills on top of it. Her husband's the same way. He's a pot smoker and gets drunk every night. Her mother lives there with them. My oldest daughter hates this woman. This woman pinned my daughter to the couch with her walker one time when Mimi was throwing me out of her house from one of my visits because I apparently gave her a dirty look or said something about the girl's dad. I don't know. But she did this often, where she would start fights with me and make it look like I was the problem and traumatize my oldest girl by like just straight up snatching her and prying her off of me as she's kicking and screaming, I want to go with you. I don't want you to leave, Mom. And then one time that lady literally pinned at this time she was 3, to the couch with her walker as she's screaming for me not to leave. So she couldn't move and come running to me. But it's okay for my kids to be with her and stay with her. And they knew this. All of this has gone down. It's okay because her drug of choice are legal. But me and Dad are not safe, even though she's traumatized my kids more so than me and my husband ever have. Ever. But she gets to stay in their life. And me and Dad are removed 100%. Why? Because she helped DHS terminate my parental rights. She played on their side instead of mine. I'm glad that my girls have somebody that they love, that they trust, since I can't be there. But I am so angry because she has traumatized my kids more than me and their dad ever have.
Did you see what Stacy? I hear you, baby. But do you see what Stacy wrote? Now, Stacy, I call her my sister from another mother and father. Okay. Stacy is in Steuben County, and she's a physician assistant, so she knows a lot about medicine, drugs, all that. Stacy, I call her. I love her. I just love everything about her. She's the smartest ever. I just adore her. She wrote, there's a court appointed supervisor in town here using Xanax, non compliant with psych meds, and spouse arrested DWI. I mean, you meant DUI, I think. An illegal or DWI. Am I reading that right?
Driving while impaired. It's DWI, driving while impaired.
What is DWI? What is DWI? What is that?
It's driving while impaired. It's like a DUI. Yeah.
That's why you're the smart one, Stacy. Okay. And illegal drug. The parents she supervises are cleaner than her. There you have it.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, you guys need to understand, just because you guys have drugs allegation, well, guess what? That's every freaking parent CPS encounters. Okay? You guys need to understand this, but they give them to the parents, the foster homes that actually traffic them and force them to do drugs. Oh, and by the way, Stacy, write down the narcotic medication that they take, baby. Stacy, there's narcotic medication. Stacy knows the name of them. I can't remember the name. Where the foster parents force the kids to have, to take. Those narcotic medications, okay, is to keep them sedated. Stacy knows the name of that narcotic medication. Please, I'm asking you guys to make sure your attorney, and please hire a freaking CPS defense attorney. Do not hire a family law attorney. I'm begging you. This is not a criminal case. This is worse than criminal case. In criminal court, you're innocent until proven guilty. CPS, there is no such thing. They will make you guilty whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Okay, remember that. And I want to address this to everyone. Hi, Andrea. Everyone, please, 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 please don't judge parents who are fighting CPS. Do not judge them. And oftentimes, they actually did a study. They said that children strive better in a home environment they're used to. Even if for example, even if Andrea lives in a freaking RV, okay? That's how the kids are used. That's what the kids are used to,
And
right?
it's not illegal.
That's not illegal. It's not illegal, but CPS will make it illegal and remove your kids. That's not illegal.
Yep.
You need to get a CPS defense attorney. And the reason, by the way, they remove you and want you isolated from your family and the family away from you is because they know that with you, with your family, that your family will help you financially. So,
Yeah.
so they separate you. It's called divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. The devil, that's his
They
strongest
did
way
that to me.
to
They did
win.
that to me too,
Yeah,
Misty.
it's
They
called
did that
divide.
to
Yeah,
me too.
divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. That's how they do it.
Yep. They
Okay.
did
So
that to
why
me.
is it okay to remove kids from a home where the parents are doing after work, smoking a joint, whatever they call it, a weed in the backyard, but then they give the children to foster homes that do cocaine,
Mm-hmm.
that drink every day alcohol,
Yep.
and they have the freaking cocaine on the table
Yep.
while the mother is visiting the child online and looking at the cocaine, and she's looking at the alcohol bottle. It was a whiskey bottle. She took a snapshot of it and sent it to me. She reported it to the social worker. This is in LA County. And I get mad because I hate CPS. I hate them. I don't trust them. They're evil. And I'm down. Okay. She showed the picture to the social worker and she recorded the video of the interview. I mean, sorry, of the visit with her child. And the social worker told her that if she makes another complaint, she will never see that visit again.
Wow.
And she recorded the social worker. And I think California should never be a two-party state to get a consent for recording. I think we should make it a law in California that it's okay to record the social workers, their government officials, their entities working through the government, stealing innocent children. We should be able to record their asses.
Yep.
Okay? But they don't want to be recorded. Why? Because they lie. They fucking, they freaking lie. And the reason they lie is because they want to make sure that they win. And how they win? By getting these kids adopted.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, the reason they keep the cases open for so long, your court-appointed attorney lies to you and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought the case was going to be closed in 3 months and you're going to get your kids, but now you have to do this and this and that." But they have to keep the cases 10 months or more, longer, because that's when the funding kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 months or more.
I just learned.
There's so much corruption in the system, you guys. I know so much. I can't sit here and talk about it for a reason. I was told not to but I know so much. Go ahead, Andre. I mean, just go ahead. I called you Andrea, but you're Brandy. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
That's how mad I am. I can't. I don't know who's in front of me.
I get it. It's okay. I
I
understand it. It's okay. I've been called worse, so it's okay. I'm just joking. So with my son, I just figured out. So we have this thing called Family Drug Court, and there's a lot of people in it that are involved with CPS. I have a girl that I live with that has been going through it for almost 3 years. I requested that program when they took my son. They told me that I didn't qualify. They denied me because of the allegations that I just told you, the putting my son in danger, the running from police, all this stuff. And I haven't successfully completed a lower intensity program or inpatient. So that's another reason why I couldn't have the higher intensity family drug court that would have put me in a sober house for 3 months rent free. That would have given me life skills and parenting. That would have given me all of the things that I was required to do all in one spot. And as long as you're trying, they'll keep your case open forever, for however long you need it to be. Like one of the girls that I stay with, she's going on 3 years with her case. She's been to rehab several times. She's been homeless, but the fact that she keeps trying, they keep giving her opportunities. I was denied because of stupid reasons. Oh, you did this. You can't complete a lower intensity IOP program or your DV therapy or any of that. You're struggling with homelessness. You would think that if they were really actually trying to fucking help me, that they would have approved me for a higher intensity program, gave me sober living for 3 months, parenting classes, DV classes, codependency classes, everything that they do in family drug court in order to get my kids back. But they lied and told me that I didn't qualify for these reasons when the real reason was because they'll keep on working with you for however long it takes. And the fact that I was already in a DHS case was another reason why they supposedly denied me.
Hold on a second. Hold that thought for a second. Ruben, I already texted you what I need from you to get the documents ready. So send me the information. So guys, if you guys need to hire us, I need the full name, the date of birth of every child, and every child has a case number. It's the same case number, but different. The last number is always different, okay? I need that information in order for me to complete the process. And of course, your email address and all that. And I already texted you, Ruben. Just please pay attention to the text message. I'm sorry. I just wanted to address that because he's anxious.
That's okay. Right? I understand. I would be too. I am scared shitless what's going to happen once.
It's get your teenage son back.
I don't have a teenage son.
I mean, sorry.
My husband does. My 8-month-old.
Yes. Get your 8-month-old back. I'm so sorry. No, I'm getting 2 cases mixed up. I'm thinking about him, and it's just mixed up.
It's okay. We're only human.
Audrey, I'm so sorry. I screwed up.
That's okay. That just shows that you're human. It's okay.
I am human. That's why I can't stand CPS. You have to be a robot to like CPS. You have to be programmed in a different function to like a demonic entity like them. People, also, just because you have tattoos, it doesn't make you a criminal. Unless your tattoo says MS-13, that I don't know. I don't want to get involved. But if you have tattoos, like I've seen parents lose custody because the social workers don't like tattoos.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. This is true. I have a client that had a tattoo butterfly on her chest. And I'm looking at Brandy and I see a tattoo and it reminded me of her. But that's not a butterfly. That's a bat. Yeah.
It's a skull with wings and roses.
Yeah. So
not it kind of looks like a bat, I guess.
Looks like a bat to me. But our client had a butterfly. And it was not a big one. It was like, a little one. Well, not little, but kind of like this size. And the reason she had it in the front of her chest is because it reminded her of her mom. Her mom loved butterflies. As a child, when her mom died, she wanted something. It's just psychological thing, just to put something of memory, right? Some people just like the art of tattoos. I don't personally like tattoos, but I'm not going to judge someone that has tattoos and say you have to be a criminal because you have tattoos on.
Right.
It's not true. Even criminals sometimes They actually clean themselves. I'm not joking. There's criminals who actually want to do better in life,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to repeat the same mistakes they've done in the past. But still, the devil just comes in and just reminds them of the past, and blames them for everything. But you can't do that. They do it. CPS does it, but they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't judge people based on what they have on their bodies, right?
Yeah.
So here is Brandy has a tattoo. So if I was an ignorant woman, right, I would say, Brandy, I think you're a criminal. You shouldn't have your children, right? But I'm not ignorant because that's not who Brandy is.
Mm-mm.
So, but you have to keep in mind, CPS will judge you, will judge your home. We have clients who kids are removed because the worker found out that the mother lives across the street, had a Trump sign on her yard. And the parents did not know that this woman is a social worker. This is the true story. So when she was going to work, she said, "Oh, okay, I don't like Trump, so I'm just going to go after the mom." I'm not joking, dude. She made an anonymous call, supposedly, said the mother is abusing the children, and went and removed the kids. And this is not over. And she told the parents, I bet you didn't. I bet you wish you didn't vote for Trump now, and left with the kids. And the police was right there. Not
Wow.
joking. Not joking. Not joking. It's true. That's why I get angry when I talk about them. Why? Because I have seen corruption at its finest. I've seen it. So when I'm eager for you guys to get the right legal help, this is not about you retaining. You have to retain. You have to retain. No, it's because I know the kids are better off with you,
Yeah.
because I know what they're capable of doing to kids who are innocent. So yes, I'm passionate when I talk. I get angry because if I had a wand, I would just make it better. But I don't. I don't. CPS is an entity that should be stopped. They should demolish the Department of Children and Family Services because the name alone makes me want to vomit. They should call it the Department of Demonic Services.
Yes.
That's the name and title that CPS and each one of them should carry on their business card.
Yeah.
And there's a social worker on social media. I want you to check her out. I don't remember her name because she restricted me from her account because I let her have it. But I shared it on one of my shows recently. Please find that show and look at it. Her name I can't remember, but she is doing videos on social media destroying families, saying that the parents, she has this video with a smirk on her face, and I just want to, and she looks like she's 20, right? And she goes, I bet you know, I bet, what? She has this picture, whatever video, and she's like, I bet you know now why your kids are removed. Like that. And she has that smirk on her face that I want to wipe out. And I'm not joking. She has dark hair, long hair. She looks like she's 20 years old.
And she's a caseworker?
Yeah, she's a caseworker. Caseworker. And I let her have it. I found her on TikTok when I was browsing in the middle of the night. I'm not joking. I was bored and I was just kept looking at TikTok, and I found her. Couldn't believe she's a social worker. And I was like, okay, so what are you trying to say? And then she kept saying that, and all the other social workers are writing in her comments, that's true. Parents who are neglectful and hurting their children, social workers are not like that. We are honest people. We blah, 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 blah. So, you can only imagine what I said to her. Yep. I said a whole lot of shit. Um, But again, they're starting their own social media trend now. And I guess it's okay with the courts, right? I guess it's okay with the county because now they're trying now to say we are wrong and they're right. You guys have to find her. I can't remember. Look at my Grace will know. I can't remember what show it was, but I actually had her on my phone and I had the her name and I showed everything and even her picture. Look at it. Find her. I can't remember again. I can't remember her name. Um, but you guys need to lawyer up. And I know, Brandy, you and I spoke. It is hard. I get that.
Yeah.
It's hard, but there are things that you can do now. And first of all, the trial. It's okay for you. It's okay for them to tell you they scare you from going through trial because they don't want trial. Trial is a waste of time for them because they know you. They want to make you lose, regardless.
Yeah.
If you had an attorney like Davis, for example, he'd be like, I need a trial. Let's go to trial.
Yeah, I was doing that,
Yeah.
but I took a deferred adjudication and got away from it only because I was told they would more than likely do a no reasonable treatment plan
Correct.
and terminate. And there goes all hope of trying to even be a part of my girl's life one way or another. So that's the only reason why I agreed to admit to anything when there was nothing wrong with my son. There was nothing wrong when they took my girls.
I know.
But
Other than
I,
you lost your job and you became homeless. That's it.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
the whole damn story. Whole
Yep.
damn story. And then all of a sudden they want you to do drugs. And by the way, it's against the law to force someone to do drug tests.
Yeah.
And that's when you need to lawyer up. The beginning of the case is easier to lawyer up.
See, my
And better
husband
for you. Yeah.
my
better
husband refused all the drug testing, but if we don't take one, they still consider that a dirty because it's not proven to be clean.
There you go.
So
Mhm.
they had nothing bad to say about him in our courts. Nothing, because there was no paper trail.
The
With me,
accusations okay, the fight is against the mom.
yeah,
The fight is against the mom. And I'm being honest with you. 85% of the fight is against the mom. If you, for example, the father and the mother are married, they want to separate that marriage. And the first thing they will say, you have to leave your wife, and they'll go to the wife and say, you have to leave your husband in
yep,
order for you to get your kids. That's not true. That's not true because anyone can make an allegation of domestic violence, right? And all of a sudden you have to leave your husband and wife. What the F is happening? Right? It's just an allegation that's not even proven.
yeah,
That it's true. There's no police record. There's nothing.
nope,
But they make you leave your spouse, giving you false hope. And if you don't do it, then they're going to come after you harder.
and that's exactly what they did.
There you go. This is cases. I have cases like this every single day. Every single day I have cases like this.
Hi.
They do not like family life, period. They don't want the family unity. That's why I call them the whorehouse, the demons from a whorehouse. Okay? And that's really what I call CPS workers. And if they really want to help children, then guess what? They're demons and they're just feeding you lies. They just want to help children. Yeah. They want to hand them to the abuser so they can damage them for the rest of their lives. And that's why oftentimes kids who are in CPS custodies, right, in CPS, they they grow out of the system. They actually go and do drugs.
Yep.
And they go in and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail. There's no stability. Because guess what? The parents, the whoever, the foster homes, allowed themselves to keep giving these kids drugs, narcotics. So they get used to it.
Can I show you?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to show
Oh,
those? Let's see. You can see them.
Oh my
Those are
God,
my
they're
kids.
gorgeous. Oh my God.
Yeah. Those are Lila. I'm sorry, I'm
Don't,
not
don't,
supposed to say
don't, don't,
names.
don't, 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 don't.
Um, they're beautiful.
I know.
And I'm just scared that this is what's happening is the trafficking thing because
Hmm.
she's a CPS worker.
Yep.
And they put on a great show.
You know
But
what you should do? You should actually after the show, I want you to text me the name of her and her title and her address, and
I don't have any
I
of that.
can search. You don't have any of that because I can search to see if she has any record against her. Because oftentimes social workers have like Stacy said earlier in Steuben County, New York, social Buffalo, New York. I mean, social workers have records against them. DUI. There's a judge that has a DUI record, dude, in California.
So
That
the
judge
only
has a
thing
DUI arrest for the love of God, and he's still a sitting judge.
the
So
only thing
correct
I
what
know
I'm
about
saying.
these people are their first names. That's the only thing. I don't know their last names or where they live. We're not allowed to know that. I don't even know where my kids go to school. Yeah. When if so my husband's supervisor for his visits, she's willing she's gotten their last names before and she's supposed to be helping him because we've wanted that. Like I just don't like in the state of Colorado, we're not allowed to know any of that information. We're not even allowed to usually meet the foster parents unless they're okay with it. And these people were okay with it.
I have to end the
But
show, baby. I'm so sorry, but
no, that's
um,
I get it. If
legally,
I
I'm
happen
a
to come
lawyer.
across getting
Mhm.
her name or their name, is it okay if I send you a message? Because I would love to know. Um,
I will find out for you. I will. I
okay,
will. My mission is to expose corruption. That's my mission, and I have to go. Seriously, this.
okay.
All right, I'm ending the show. Hold on. All right.
Thank you, Miss
Thank
G.
you, Brandy. You're welcome, honey. Thank you for joining me, and we're gonna talk later after I complete this. And everybody, thank you for joining my show. Uh, I hope to see you guys soon. Brandy, we'll talk in about 2 hours. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're very welcome, baby girl. Bye.
Bye.